A well-adjusted person is one who makes the same mistake twice without getting nervous. I never expect a perfect work from an imperfect man. Those who stand for nothing fall for everything. Hard words are very rarely useful. Real firmness is good for everything. Strut is good for nothing. Experience is the oracle of truth, and where its responses are unequivocal, they ought to be conclusive and sacred. We must make the best of those ills which cannot be avoided. Men give me credit for some genius. All the genius I have is this: when I have a subject in mind, I study it profoundly. Day and night it is before me. My mind becomes pervaded with it. The effort which I have made is what people are pleased to call the fruit of genius. But it is only the fruit of labor and thought. I have thought it my duty to exhibit things as they are, not as they ought to be. Nobody expects to trust his body overmuch after the age of 50. He should not have taken advantage of my sensibility to steal into my affections without my consent. I have learned to hold popular opinion of no value. Give all the power to the many, they will oppress the few. Give all the power to the few, they will oppress the many. Why has government been instituted at all? Because the passions of man will not conform to the dictates of reason and justice without constraint. Vigor of government is essential to the security of liberty. Dangerous ambition more often lurks behind the specious mask of zeal for the rights of the people than under the forbidden appearance of zeal for the firmness and efficiency of government. Real liberty is neither found in despotism or the extremes of democracy, but in moderate governments. The inquiry constantly is what will please, not what will benefit the people. In such a government, there can be nothing but temporary expedient, fickleness, and folly. The rights of neutrality will only be respected when they are defended by an adequate power. A nation despicable by its weakness forfeits even the privilege of being neutral. Government implies the power of making laws. It is essential to the idea of a law that it be attended with a sanction, or in other words, a penalty of punishment for disobedience. A national debt, if it is not excessive, will be to us a national blessing. The government is frequently and aptly classed under two descriptions: a government of force and a government of laws. The first is the definition of despotism, the last of liberty. All communities divide themselves into the few and the many. The first are the rich and well-born, the other the mass of the people. There is a certain enthusiasm in liberty that makes human nature rise above itself, in acts of bravery and heroism. Men often oppose a thing merely because they have no agency in planning it, or because it may have been planned by those whom they dislike. The honor of a nation is its life. The sacred rights of mankind are not to be rummaged for among old parchments or musty records. They are written as with a sunbeam in the whole volume of human nature by the hand of the divinity itself, and can never be erased. The passions of a revolution are apt to hurry even good men into excesses. Men are rather reasoning than reasonable animals, for the most part governed by the impulse of passion. In the general course of human nature, a power over a man's subsistence amounts to a power over his will. There are seasons in every country when noise and impudence pass current for worth, and in popular commotions especially, the clamors of interested and factious men are often mistaken for patriotism. I consider civil liberty is a genuine, unadulterated sense as the greatest of terrestrial blessing. I am convinced that the whole human race is entitled to it, and that it can be wrested from no part of them without the blackest and most aggravated guilt. A powerful, victorious ally is yet another name for master. A strong body makes the mind strong, I advise the gun. While this gives moderate exercise to the body, it gives boldness, enterprise, and independence to the mind. The best we can hope for concerning the people at large is that they be properly armed. When the sword is once drawn, the passions of men observe no bounds of moderation. Safety from external danger is the most powerful director of national conduct. Even the ardent love of liberty will, after a time, give way to its dictates. Let us recollect that peace, or war, will not always be left to our option, that however moderate or unambitious we may be, we cannot count upon the moderation or hope to extinguish the ambition of others. The militia is a voluntary force, not associated or under the control of the states except when called out. A permanent or long-standing force would be entirely different in makeup and call. A tolerable expertness in military movements is a business that requires time and practice. It's not a day or even a week that will suffice the attainment of it. The president and government will only control the militia when a part of them is in the actual service of the federal government. Else, they are independent and not under the command of the president or the government. To all general purposes, we have uniformly been one people, each individual citizen, everywhere enjoying the same national rights, privileges, and protection. Constitution should consist only of general provisions. The reason is that they must necessarily be permanent and that they cannot calculate the possible change of things.